Hello, hello. I am Pretty Bird.
And I am Sweet Pea.
And together we are Pretty Sweet. Welcome to Pretty Sweet Distractions, where we speak unfiltered about life, love, poetry, and prowess. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the distractions in the form of open discussions on artful words. We do have a couple of rules. We're grown up people talking about grown up things using all the grown up words. And I promise you tonight we'll be using all the grown up words. Consider yourself warned. If you are easily offended, this may not be your bouncing tea bag, cup of tea, or whatever floats your boat. We like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. So if you're down to be distracted, come hang out, chat, call, like, follow, share, leave your opinions and our opinions, click all the hearts and show us some love. We have live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And you can listen to us live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Just type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY, sweet, all one word, Pretty Sweet Distractions. Follow the red shoes, and you can listen to us every Tuesday and Thursday. Or join us on our All Poetry group at Pretty Sweet Distractions again, because we are really consistent. And then you can submit your poetry, you can get the links to call us and join us live, and all the things. So do that. So tonight, it is big feat, you say? Because we've all heard the old wives' tales about predictions. Are they true or truly unreliable? And whether it's size or other predictions, can we foresee the unforeseeable? And do we really want to? Does it even matter at all? So before we get into the discussions, let's say hello to all the peoples. So Sweet Pea, say hi.
Hello.
And Raconteur.
Hello.
And we have a surprise today. Hey, Bud.
Hi.
Hi. I love it. I love that we have peoples. I love my peoples. Y'all are awesome. So here's the thing. I'm glad that we have two men here tonight because I can girl talk all the things about size or girth or hands or feet or whatever the case may be. And so I'm just warning you, we're gonna be talking about the penis. Okay, so either stay tuned or feel free to go elsewhere. We're not trying to offend you. However, if your interest is piqued, we shall be talking. So here's the thing. For me, I then I have the poem I brought for tonight is called Sapiosexual Logophile, because my full on turn-ons are very much intelligence oriented. You know, you can be kind of fugly, but you got to be brilliant. You know, because I find
Oi.
I find that more so than looks for me, it's intelligence and the ability to have a conversation, hold your own opinions, debate something without being rude and obnoxious and without being butthurt and without trying to convert people to your ideology. Just a normal conversation about all the things without thinking less of somebody. That is very appealing to me. Having said that, and no offense to anybody with a micro penis, but if you have a micro penis, which is a medical, unfortunate situation, it's not necessarily the end of the road of a relationship if everything else is there. And if you're with somebody who likes a good looking guy and you're a good looking guy, if you're intelligent, because I need intelligence, I cannot with the stupid, I'm so sorry, and things like that, if everything else aligns, I personally don't think the penis matters as much, because you've got 10 fingers. There's warehouses full of devices, and let's not forget everybody's favorite seat, the face. And so you've got all of these ways to give pleasure. You've got all of these ways to receive pleasure. You've got all of this plethora of devices and techniques that your sex life does not have to
Got options.
seriously, your sex life does not have to be lacking just because somebody is less endowed than somebody else. Having said that, I'm a lazy bitch. I'm a lazy fucking bitch. If somebody is doing the damn thing, I don't want to have to do half the work by squeezing it the whole damn time. I am just saying. I mean, it is what it is. Okay. I mean, there are times where if I'm in control of it, okay, listen, TMI, it is what it is. There are times where I'm in control of the situation that I want to be in control of the situation. I like being in control of the situation. I've got proclivities and I don't give a fuck. But here's the thing. When it is my job in that moment to um walk that line between finishing, not finishing, pleasure and pain, whatever line I'm walking, I will revel in all of the squeezing and all of the things of whatever it is that I'm doing. But if I just want to have at it, if I have to squeeze to feel it, we're going to have to do some pre-work. There will be no quickies involved because, I don't know if you guys are well versed in vagina, but I am going to teach you a little something if you are not. Okay. If you don't skimp on the foreplay, if you don't ever skimp on the foreplay, and I don't even care if foreplay includes an orgasm, but if you don't get in there and make sure she's naturally lubed up, then you're going to have a harder time with a smaller wiener because she swells. She's supposed to swell. She gets engorged with blood, just like men. And so you want that to work in your favor. So don't skimp on the foreplay because I promise you, you will feel bigger than you are if you go in there, dry or whatever, because nobody wants hot dogs down the hallway. Having said that, I don't know if you've seen a tampon or they're small enough that and they've always been uncomfortable for me. I don't like them. I don't need them anymore, but I don't like them because I can feel them. So I know people that can use like the super absorbent tampons and they don't feel a damn thing. And I'm just like, more power to you because this sucks. I would like to not feel it. I would like to forget that on top of all the other things that I have something shoved up my hoo-ha. But what I'm getting at is that if a finger gets the job done, you have to have a really, really, really tiny little thing, which is perfectly fine. I know people that have a very short one, short and fat. It's like 3.5 inches of unfortunate, but they get the job done. You have to learn how to work with what you got. So to me, it's not all about the size, and not for nothing. If it is hot dogs down the hallway, I worry more about the girl because here's the thing again, vagina lessons. It stretches to accommodate what it's used to. So if a girl just broke up, with a guy that she's been dating for, I don't know, 6 months, and he has this giant porn star wiener, she is going to expect like the vagina has a memory, and as soon as you get in there, she's going to open up to take what she's used to. Now that does shrink back to a neutral thing over time. When it doesn't get it for a while, it's just like, well, I'm gonna relax. I don't care. My memory's wiped. Let's go. You don't get revirginized. It's not that. What happens is now you get accustomed to the next one. And if there is space in between, if you're constantly going from big to big to big to big to big, that's a long transition to go from big to average to want to be able to feel it. And some people get really frustrated, and I feel bad because it has nothing to do with anything but biology. So with the whole excuse me, with the whole big hands and big feet, I think that when it comes to predictions that we'll get into in a little bit, I wonder if it matters, you know. And I just got a message that says Kegel exercises. Here's the thing with the Kegels, they we can have a vice grip, but the amount of effort it takes to want to have to hold that position doesn't really allow for the fun, because in order to have all the fun, you really need to relax. And so the periodic whatever, and sometimes bodies just want to grab onto things as they're leaving, and all the things, everybody's body works different. That's all well and good. But if I have to sit there and clamp down, I'm not going to finish, because it takes effort to do that, and it takes um more abandon or relaxation to actually get over the hump. So I'm all for give and take. If I have finished whatever number of times I have finished, and it's time for them to finish, and it's a little, well, I don't know, I've never really had hot dogs down the hallway, but if I need to squeeze it down to get so that they can get done, I will do that because I've had my fun. I'm good. So you have to kind of be a giving person to accommodate the different body types. I would rather have a small wiener than somebody who wants to go around in fucking circles and think that they're writing the alphabet and doing all this stuff with their wiener. Because no, just stop. It's not okay. I need to know where it's going so that, if listen to the moans, read the body, read the room. Don't go left, right, up, down. We're not praying in the middle in the middle of a session. Okay. No, nobody needs to be kissing their thumbs and going Hail Mary. So I don't want to go compass. I don't want to go around the world. Don't do any weird fucking shit because it's distracting. I am just saying, but that's just me. So Sweet Pea, what are your thoughts on overall, penis issues? You're muted.
As far as I don't personally have penis issues, I've never had to bother with them. I know others with penis issues. Um, God, they're always grabbing at them. They're always adjusting them. They're always moving them. I can't imagine what it's like to have one because they seem to be a nuisance. um, they're always, every time, like they can't leave them alone for more than I'd say an hour. Well, an hour seemed a long time. I mean, there always seems to be an adjustment period, which seems to be like at least every 20 minutes, they have to be adjusted, moved, catered to, scratched. Um, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but um, size. Well, you know, I'm not one to have seen a ton of penises or used a ton of penises. Um, I would say I've gone from medium to wealthy, healthy. Um, but a good penis that knows what it's doing, I enjoy. I can't say I've ever run across a micro penis in my life, so that's always a good thing. I've never had to deal with a tiny little thing. Um, so I guess I've been blessed in that department. Um, I really think it's really about the person that owns the penis that they have to know what they're doing. That it has to have, confidence. It has to have the gusto to know what it's doing. It has to have its own, ability to.
A good head on its shoulders.
Yeah,
Oh,
good head on its shoulders, something like that. You can't kind of go in limp and half off. It's got to be full cocked, not half cocked. And it has to have the brains behind it. Like you said, if you're dumb as dirt, you're not going to have the ability to impress me too much. I don't care what physical attribute you may have. If you don't have the brains to get me to the point where I even want to look at your penis, you're not very, I'm not going to be, engaged enough. There has to come with something to get me to the point where, oh, I'd like to see your penis because yeah, you can go home and play with your own penis because I'm not going there. I think a lot of people miss that factor where, oh yeah, there has to be something that comes with the hands and the feet and the penis. There has to be the brain. There has to be some kind of romance. There has to be some kind of stimulating factors other than, hey, let me unzip my pants, meet my penis. I'm not very good with that kind of thing. Never have been. And there's so many that just want you to, hey, I fed you a meal, meet my penis. No, that's not quite the exchange I'm looking for. So I think that's my biggest problem with the said penis is just like, look at my glove size, look at my shoe size. Would you like to meet my penis size? Not quite. Yeah, but I've never met a man with a size 3 shoe. So I think that's where I stand on the penis factor.
I think it's funny. That made me think of what is it, How I Met Your Mother and the Naked Man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I swear to you, I would kick that naked ass out. No. I'd walk out the door myself because I never brought anybody to my place. They don't need to know where the fuck I live. I was like, if I don't know you well enough to know you, you don't need to know where I live, because I people are weirdos. But I would never, like, if I go to the bathroom, and even if I was planning on having sex, if I come out and they're naked and presume that I'm having sex, I am done. That is the most unattractive, presumptuous shit. It's not funny. It's funny if we're dating for a while and it's unexpected and we've already had the sex. Okay, I'll give that to you. But if we have never had sex and I turn my back for 2 seconds and you're all wiener out, I don't know you anymore. Lose my number. We're good.
And I do believe I've just said penis more times than I have in my entire life.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And so, so rack and tour, big hands, big feet. What says you?
Oh, experience. You're talking about the TV show. That there was. You made me think of the other one with Ugly Naked Guy, where they taped all the yardsticks together to poke
To
him with
poke him.
yeah. But yeah the you know I don't know how when I was younger I kind of avoided the majority of that. I mean I found out about it later in life. So when I was acquainted with a couple of friends of mine, and they were like, let me stick your thumb in this glass of water. I didn't know what they wanted, what they were doing, what they were trying to figure out. I just heard them like giggling one way after they put my thumb in the water. I'm like, what? I had no clue, no clue until I don't know how long afterwards that's what they were trying to relate to. I'm like, you got one of those. If you want to see one of these, all you got to do is ask. It's not the same game. I mean, really. So and that other topic that you were bringing up, it's more what you do with it. The variables of how things fit together. It's like sometimes it doesn't even have to go into to be like oops, you know, I misfired.
I
So
mean, that happens.
yeah, it's all a game of getting to know each other and figuring out what works, because and again, what works with one person doesn't necessarily work with another one, and there's the joke is what do sex and a snowstorm have in common? You never know how many inches you're gonna get or how long it'll last. So I mean, sometimes it's happier than other times, and it seems bigger, and sometimes it seems quicker than others. It's a game of emotions to me. So
It is.
the yeah, and like you say, there's so much other things you could do than just poke it. So the size does I to me I mean and again, being a guy, it's easy for me to say. I don't know that the size really matters.
Does the
You
size of
know,
the
but
hole matter?
no, not really. No. I was told once, if you were any bigger, I wouldn't let you put it in there. So it's like, oh, thanks. I don't know. It's like, judge not. It's I don't know.
I will have a sex 101 lesson here. Y'all listen up. If everything is going great, if you guys are all over each other, if you're very, very excited, for the love of God, don't fuck the first one. Spit or swallow, or you're gonna get 30 seconds of "I'm done and I don't want to do it anymore." If you spit or swallow, then they have to work up by doing you, and then you get a much longer session. These are things you learn in time, and now you know. You're welcome. So, so Bud, what are your thoughts on anything we touched on?
Yeah, touched.
Uh, well, let's see. I was a virgin up till the age of 18.
Same,
I had never kissed a girl.
same.
So when I had my first girlfriend, it was a it was a very traumatic experience
Oh no.
because because I had no idea. I mean, I was totally green in this area,
Green.
and it was so funny. Oh, green
Like
uh
I get you.
like not knowing anything.
Yes.
And so
I was, I was gonna make a frog
so
joke.
there was this Friday night, and my high school buddy was camping out near this lake, and he had this tent and this fire and all this stuff was going on. And so my girlfriend and me showed up, and he's giving us beers and stuff, and she's kissing my neck and doing all this stuff, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you just go on in there and do what you want?" I'm like, "Oh Lord." So we go in there, and we're kissing and stuff, and she's taking my hand and putting it on her crotch and stuff, and I kept pulling it away because I was like, I really don't, I have no idea what I'm doing here. So
Girls
she
have
unzips
cooties.
her little Jordache jeans, and she takes my hand and slips it down there, and it was the strangest thing because it was just like it was so moist. There was this musky smell, and I'm like, all right, what's going on here? she, so I'm groping around, and she goes, "You've never done this before, have you?" I said, "Nope." So she zips back up, and she gets out, and she's sitting next to the fire. She goes, "Oh, he's a virgin." And they start laughing, and I felt really, really embarrassed. It was like, you know,
Yeah.
I would never, I don't ever want to do this again. I figured she never wanted to see me again. But, we kept
Right.
talking, we kept calling, and, we would get more chances and things like that. And the thing I asked her, I said, "Look, I don't know anything." I said, "So you're going to have to show me what you enjoy, and you're going to have to teach me." And through that, and through trials and tribulations and all that nonsense, things started to work out. But it was not a pleasant experience for me, and probably not for her either. But as things moved on, it became more natural. And the thing I always learned was, you take care of them first, and they will do anything for you. I mean,
Basically.
anything. And so that's what I did. I worked on that, because I never had to. I dated this girl who was 9 years older than me, and she had two kids. And I thought we were just friends. I didn't think anything. Their kids were with the dad. She was divorced. Blah blah blah. I go to her townhouse. She tells me, she's going to go in and get changed in something, more comfortable. And I'm sitting out there drinking a beer, and next thing I know, the lights are dim. She comes out and she's full naked, and I'm like,
That's the naked girl.
oh, I'm like, holy fuck, And she goes, yeah, and this, I mean, she's gorgeous, she's just gorgeous, blonde, beautiful body, and she lays down on the couch, and I just, I'll go into automatic, and I didn't take off any clothes. I didn't let her touch me, which really got her going. I had gum in my mouth, so I just stuck that somewhere, and
So
I just
where?
I just did my thing and got her going, and she came, and then she came again, and then she said, "Well, you can't go. I'll give you a blowjob." I said, "No, I don't need one." She goes, "Are you something wrong with you?" I said, "No." I said, "But the pleasure I got was, pleasuring you," and
I
she
Right.
couldn't
hate
believe
that
it.
it went to, is there something
She
wrong with you?
she could not believe it. So, I kissed her goodnight. I left her there naked. I put my gum back in my mouth, and I left. and she and she told everybody because she we worked together. So
Oh no.
next thing I know, all these girls, these women, they're smiling. "Yo, Dan, I know what you did." And I'm like, "Oh Lord!" I'm
So
like, "That's all I
embarrassing.
need."
Yeah, women,
So
women tell, yeah, women, you either get
I
the
know
good ones or they all talk.
they're horrible. So that way.
Yes.
But the thing was, my sexual journey has been like it's been. very was not a smooth, journey. It was a very rough, gravelly road with a lot of potholes, and I learned on the way, and a lot of things, I guess, and so, but part of it, I think, is when you're like when you're always taking care of others, even when it comes to the sex part, it kind of, I think, ties into that too, because you're always thinking about somebody else. So that's part of just my makeup, and that's something I can't change, and not do I want to. So when it comes to pleasure and things like that, that is my pleasure. It's almost like I think of myself as a sex worker who doesn't get paid. But
OMG.
and in a way, to me, that's kind of, it's like, oh yeah, that's taboo, kind of like, yeah, hey, I'm kind of like
It's,
a male whore who's doing whatever they want, and that's it, and it
well, I mean, I
stops right
wouldn't
there.
classify you as a whore if you're not actually
No, but
having the
And where
sex.
do you
I'm
live?
just,
no, but it's sometimes kind of in a fantasy way. I think that it gets me more to drive them to go where they need to go.
I think that that should be
Because
the norm. I do. I
hmm
never
Yep.
understood the idea of being selfish as a lover. Now, if
Yep.
hmm
in that scenario that you just mentioned, Bud, if
hmm
I was the woman and the guy's like, no, tonight's all about you. All right, I'll take it. But
there you go.
the ideology for me is that when I want to spend the night doing you, you don't have a say.
hmm
I'm going to do all the things because tit for tat, and I'm good with that. I never understood how people just want to get off and be done and get off and be done and get off and be done. And then they think because they've slept with 150 women or whatever. Yes, but do you still know any
hmm
of them? Do they even want to have sex
hmm
with you twice? Well, what the hell? That's not a flex to me. Because if you
hmm
don't get if you don't ever learn the nuances of how to read a body, and I don't care whose body it
hmm
is, but how to read a body, and
hmm
in order to read a body, you have to be kind of attuned to it, meaning you need to
Right.
be not so in tune with your own genitalia, and
Right.
then gain pleasure in that. And the thing is, you also have to be able to take direction, because I know so many
Right.
people that are like, "Don't tell me what to do." Okay, I'm one of those people. Don't fucking tell me
Right.
what to do. I got you. I'm doing it on purpose. Shut up.
Right.
But I never start there. You always
Mm,
have to learn the nuances of what people like versus what they say they like versus what their body tells you they like, all of the things. And that takes time. So I don't like new. I don't do strange. I find,
mhm.
people kind of gross because I can't trust anybody's hygiene. Okay. But when you're in a relationship and you're learning all the things, it should be that there should not be any fear or shame in asking, maybe do a little bit of this, maybe a little bit to the right,
Mhm.
maybe, and all
Mhm.
these things that should not be if they should be eager to be like, so long as it gets you off, I'm good.
Mhm.
Because that to me is where the expertise comes in. Not if you can
Mhm.
get off, because we all know how to get ourselves off. I mean,
Mhm.
biology. But it's an art
Mhm.
to be able to
It
not
is.
just get somebody else off, but to read them well enough to prolong it or not prolong it. Oh, I got pissed off one person, and I owed them some play, because it was part of this arrangement, and we're married now, so shut up. And it was part of this thing. I was like, fine, you just you do all these fucking dishes for me. I'll do whatever. I was tired, so 33 seconds, I'm good. And he's like, how the hell? I was like, done is done. I'm going to sleep. Good night. And he's like, that was not fun. But you finished. Okay. So, but I'm also, the longest I've taken, I'm surprised I don't have lockjaw, is 3 hours, because you
Oh.
play and you do all yeah, don't fucking touch me. Sit on your fucking hands. Shut the fuck up. I got this. And I tell you what, that slow, exquisite torture,
Mhm.
change the person. They change them because they look at you a little bit different. There's something really sly about the magic that comes with knowing somebody well enough that you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
He
Yes.
said comes.
there is a lot of trust and affection and allowing these things to happen naturally, which I absolutely love. Okay, so you your bumpy road and you're telling the first time reminded me of one of my favorite songs, which is Sick Transit Gloria by Glory Faze. I'm going to read you this verse. And for anybody who hasn't listened to it, listen to it. It's worth it. It says, you don't recover from a night like this. A victim still lying in bed, completely motionless. A hand moves in the dark to a zipper. Hear a boy bracing tight against the sheet, barely whisper, "This is so messed up." And I love that. I love that because to me, that comes from a very real experience. It sounds real. It sounds like you never hear about the guys being nervous. You hear about the girls being nervous. You never, the guys are supposed to be all, here's my wiener and there's the hole, let's go. The amount of young people I have had to verbally diagram where the vagina actually is in conjunction to or compared to where the anus is. I'm like, listen, there is a flap of skin in between them. Seriously, just if you think you're there, go lower, because they don't know, but they can't tell their friends they don't know, because then they're not cool, then they're not like everybody else, then they're whatever. And I feel bad for that because I don't think as girls we have that problem. I don't think that we sit there and um have other girls, at least I've never experienced it, pick on us for not having sex. I mean, it's just, I don't think anybody cares because back in the day, depending on when in high school you were, if you had the sex with more than one person, you were just a whore. Everybody thought you were easy. All of this stuff that's changed now with all the things where everybody wants to announce all of their different shades of flag and all this stuff. And to me, I don't give a shit who anybody else is sleeping with because they're not sleeping with me, so that's not my business. I really don't care. It doesn't sway me in any direction. But I will never understand how it's everybody's business because to me, who I sleep with is my business, you know? And who you sleep with is your business. I was like, unless you're sleeping with who I'm sleeping with, it's not my fucking business. And so it has nothing to do with shame. It has nothing to do with anything other than privacy. It's not anybody's fucking business, but everybody around here wants to go and do all the things. More power to you. Don't stick in my face. I don't give a shit. You're not having sex with me. I don't care. It's not important. It doesn't change who you are. It's not anything I factor in. So we never really had this confidence issue when it comes to sex. We were expected to be naive. We were expected to not know. We were expected to whatever. I think um, that also does women a disservice. So it's unfortunate, is what it is. The difference of expectations nowadays. I don't know what it's like to be young nowadays. I was young a long fucking time ago, but you know, people have sex, they don't have sex. I don't know if it's as big a deal or a bigger deal because everything's out in the open so much more than it has been historically speaking. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do about that. I know this. I know two teenage girls. One just graduated and one is still in high school. That both of them identify as they them, but they are very much not on that spectrum of flags. They're very much, no, I like guys. It's, well, what's the problem? Well, because I don't want to be just one thing. And I'm sitting there going, I have a very masculine personality. I am outspoken. I can be loud. I am brazen. I'm not afraid of confrontation. Not that I seek it out. I don't back down from a fight. These are very masculine traits. I am a woman through and through all fucking day long. I kind of have sex like a man. I like to be in control. I like things how I like things. I am still all woman. And it makes me wonder, not that this has anything to do with tonight's topic, it makes me wonder, how is this empowering when it is stripping the strength out of womanhood? when it
I
is
am woman, hear me roar.
but I am serious because where does that leave the tomboys? Anybody who plays a sport, anybody who does all of these things that are strong women. If we are now breaking women down to and not be a woman because a woman is weak, and now I want to be all the things because don't put me in a box, but a woman is all the things, just like a man is all the things. There's something to be said about men that aren't afraid of their feelings. There's something to be said about men understanding the people that they love, especially their spouses, to be that
to
safe
be
place
that
when they
safe
need it.
place when they need.
You know what I mean?
You know what
And
I mean? And
there's an
well, like
echo.
you.
There's a real big
Oh,
echo, so I don't know if there's a computer and a phone together somewhere or what's going on, but that was pretty
That was
echoey.
fun.
And so it makes me wonder um,
Wah, wah,
if
wah,
we're
wah,
doing a
wonder.
disservice to society at large. Oh, controversy, whatever. I'm so sorry. I'm not. If I
Yeah.
don't care how anybody wants to identify who they are, that's their business. But the expectation is that they're on that sliding scale of sexuality. When they are not, when they are fully this or that, and they just don't want to be boxed into somebody else's ideology, I've got news for you. You're still going to be boxed into other people's ideology, even if they don't name it out loud. Even if you don't want to be, you can't control how people think, what people say. That is well out of your control. So it kind of diminishes. Here's the thing: these
well,
girls were pressured into a they them because they were called weak or stupid or you know wanted to, anti-feminist or all of these things while in high school at 14 and 15 years old, that they had to announce everywhere on all of their social media that what their pronouns were and that they changed them to they them. Of more power to you if that's what you want, but there was so much peer pressure that they were ashamed to just be a she. And I'm just like, what the fuck kind of twisted shit is this? The whole point of be what you want is let them be who they are without giving them any guilt or shame. If a boy wants to be a boy, a girl wants to be a girl, and with the he and she pronouns, no, I'm not even talking sexuality. We're not getting into any of that because none of that's my business. Then let them be that. Why be forced? Why have peer pressure to be like, oh, well, you're just a weak woman and you yada 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 blah blah blah. This is and the amount of tears that came out of this one girl for the pressure that she felt at, for not wanting to be a they when she was perfectly happy being a she, I felt bad. So while I didn't get any sexual pressure, I can't imagine having that bullshit on top of being a teenager, learning about your body and all the things. That's a giant mess of shit. And none of that has anything to do with the size of penis. So, I'll come back to the conversation because I tend to go sideways. I make no apologies. It is what it is. So, Sweet Pea.
well,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, bud.
no, no. Like what you're talking about, I've got a friend that, well, when I was working, um, Andrew, he goes both ways. He's married and he does his nails, and he likes wearing women's clothes and he's very feminine. But I relate to him because I have a very large feminine side too that I can tap into, and I do because I know that I'm just a balance. I'm a man, but I still have a very feminine side. I was raised by women. I've always had more friends that were women than men. I mean, and they in high school they thought, oh man, he's hitting on all these girls, and I wasn't. I was their friends, and maybe they thought I was gay, or who knows, but it really doesn't matter because I was happy in that environment. It was safe for me, and I enjoyed it. But like Andrew, he's not confused. He's finally, I think, branching out and doing what he wants to do with his. I tell him, hey man, your nails look great. And it was funny because when he first started, a guy came up to me and said, "You got to watch out for him, because he goes either way." And I said, "Watch this." So I walked right up to him. I said, "Hey, Andrew," I gave him a big hug and a kiss on the cheek, and he hugged me back.
Seriously.
And the other guy goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "I'm
Oh,
just letting him know, man. Hey, I like the guy. I care about him, but
exactly.
that's as far as it goes. That's it.
I
There's
I
no more."
never understood
And
why
and
people
and
are
they're like,
afraid
"I
of it.
can't believe you did that." And I'm like, "Well, that just proves a point.
I,
You tell somebody that somebody's gay, and then what? You got to stay away from them because what?
oh,
They're gonna
because they
just
want to
jump
fuck
on you?
everybody because
Yeah,
everybody is their type.
exactly.
I'm
because
like,
because
it
you
doesn't.
might catch it.
I know.
There you go. But it
I
doesn't
know.
work that way. And what I find funny is that these guys that still to this day think that if they're nice to somebody who is openly on that sliding scale of sexuality, that means that people are going to think that they want something or
Hmm.
that they're open to
No.
advances or all this stuff. I promise you, they don't want
Hmm.
you. Okay, they
No.
don't want you. They're picky.
No.
You know,
No. They're
unless
happy right where they're at.
exactly.
You know,
And just
and
like the
that's
women don't
fine.
want you, the men don't want you. Shut up.
Yeah, and the thing is though, they'll respect you because you respect them for who they are and
It's
for what they
nobody's
do,
fucking
and
business
you
what
have
they
no
do.
reservations.
Yeah,
Because I
that's the
don't,
whole
because
thing. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
friends, really close friends that I thought were gay, but they never came out with it. And we went to concerts. We slept in the same bed together. After the concert, I
Woohoo!
spent the night with them. We were in high school, and he lived on a Air Force uh, base. His dad
Nice.
was in the military, so they had one bedroom. All the kids slept in it, so there were four of us in there, and me and PT slept in the same bed. We went to see Kiss. We put makeup on together. Man, we had a great time. But I always thought, that there was something else about him that he just had to hide because he always had to be masculine. Because that's what his dad and his mom and the culture says. You're a boy, so that's what you're going to be. You're going to be a boy.
You want to
But
hear
I
something
always felt
funny?
like that hurt him because somewhere down the line, he got into alcoholism and drugs and everything else because he wasn't allowed to be who he wanted to be. So,
I mean,
um,
it was a little different, a couple of decades back than it is now, where everything's in
hmm
the forefront and a lot more accepted. I mean, there's still hate, crime, and hate, and all of
hmm
that stuff. And I'm not taking that away from the unfortunate parts of our society, but generally speaking, it is a lot more
hmm
accepted openly than it ever has been. So
it
what
is.
yeah, what I am, oh, I was going to say something, I forgot what it was. Oh, what I find interesting, really interesting, is that I don't know, and this is 100%, I don't know a single guy. I mean, maybe you guys are different, so you tell me. I don't know a single guy by basically the age of 30 that has not, for some Halloween party, dressed up as some kind of woman. And
Oops.
I don't know any women that actively, maybe a few of them for Halloween want to go and like put on like a mustache and
Hmm.
a man suit and all those things. That's just to know what it feels like to whatever the guy. Listen, guys like the feel of freaking pantyhose. I don't care how straight you are. They rub on their ladies' legs. I mean, if you put them in heels and a short skirt for Halloween, they're going to love those freaking pantyhose because it feels some kind of way, and then somebody's getting laid because it feels some kind of way. I'm not mad at it, but these are the people that do it for fun because it's Halloween, and then want to poo-poo on people that openly like how that feels when hey, I'm sorry it makes you uncomfortable. You might want to sit with that, unpack that a little bit. Think that why does it bother you if it has nothing to do with you? That's that, what one of these things is not like the other, it's not connected. And
Well,
but I mean, have either of you ever gone out on Halloween and been some kind of woman, not necessarily a
yeah.
whore or not
Well,
nurse, you
when I
know?
dressed up like a Kiss character, I mean, I had all the makeup on, I had long hair, I was wearing tights. I mean, that probably about as close as a girl you can get, because I,
Oh no.
I was wearing high heels, and yeah, and I loved it, and
Oh.
everybody was coming up asking us for autographs, and we had a blast. I had lipstick on, everything. So that was
You.
my thing because I was the most feminine of the Kiss characters. I was the space guy. So he always acted like he was gay.
Ace
So
Freely.
yeah,
Yes.
I had made the costume. I was 17 years old. Used my mom's
I think
Singer sewing machine. Did everything. Yep.
I think Peter Chris is more effeminate than Ace, but
Because he's a cat.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, you pin me out though. I was a full on woman with breasts and everything one Halloween. Off my so yeah,
Uh huh.
I did the whole thing. There's no. I'm half or whatever with the
Uh
beard.
huh.
It was all
And
like
those
yeah. I'm
pantyhose
supposed to.
fucking feel good.
Mm.
You're not supposed to put them over your face and rob a bank though, and that's the problem.
Yeah. But I like the stockings and garters. I always thought that was just so erotic.
Oh, let me
I
tell
always
you,
wanted to keep them on. Keep them on,
that
please,
is
because
hysterical.
I love
That's
the
what they're
straps,
for.
and,
That
and
is
and you
exactly
got
what they're
bare
for.
thighs, so that's all you need.
So I was 19 years old, 20 years old. I was 20 years old. And I had on this long green sweater dress, low cut V, and like a little mock turtleneck underneath. And I had on just standard thigh highs, not the garters and whatever. You couldn't see anything because it was that dress was down on my knees. And I got a lesson. I worked nights as a receptionist for a bunch of salespeople, and they all were just like, that dress, yes. Tell me it is a garter belt. I was like, I only wear those out. I'm not wearing them here. And I was like, and they're always a pain in the ass because if you look at all of the ads and all the models that wear the cute little lingerie, the cute little sets with the garter and the whatnot and the matching panties, those panties are underneath that garter belt. Let me tell you how
Mhm.
much that doesn't fucking work because you have
Mhm.
about 8 inches to pull your
Mhm.
panties to someplace comfortable. It ain't enough to sit there and spread anything, to wipe anything, to get your hands into all the things. No. And and if you wear it over, then it's just ugly. But Jack, I will never forget this middle-aged, balding, chubby, married guy. It's like, oh, sweetie. And I'm like, I knew something was coming. It's like, what? He's like, yeah, you're not supposed to be wearing the panties. You wear the garters. No panties. I don't care what you're wearing. And I was just
Yep.
like, oh, well, all right then. And not for nothing, never again did I put on
Mhm.
a garter belt and stockings with underwear. It is
There you
what it is.
go.
And that
No.
way you don't have to take off the garter. You don't have to deal with
Yep.
with underwear. It's a lot easier to go to the bathroom. And every now and then, airing her out isn't that bad. I'm just saying.
It's
Sweet
so
pea.
freaking sexy too.
It really is, especially if you got the line
My
up the back,
God.
my favorite. Sweet pea, we
But
haven't
the
heard from you in a while. What are your thoughts on the garters?
Oh, have you looked at what I mean, all you have to know about me and garters is our side piece picture.
It's a full corset.
Yeah, I mean, what goes with corset?
yeah.
If
So
not garters and
that is true.
snacks and all of the many things. I am a sucker for a good corset. My black one,
Mm.
my purple one, my pink one.
I do like a good corset. I do, I
Yeah.
do, I do. But
Oh
I
gosh.
think it's
Yep.
funny because they'll make like cheap corsets. And
Mhm.
ladies, listen to me. You want a corset that has boning in it, not these
Mhm.
reinforced whatever, not these wannabe. If you're going to buy a corset, spend the money. They just spend the freaking money. It's worth it because you can tie those suckers however you want to tie those suckers. It'll give you that little waist. It'll give you the bigger hips or the look of bigger hips. It'll push your shit up all the way up to your face. It'll do all of the things, and you don't even have to make it so you can't breathe. I am just saying the reaction that you get, whether it's under clothes, whether it's over clothes, whether however you want to wear it, it is universal and
That's
amazing.
why they call it boning.
OMG, seriously, they're sexy as hell. You can literally wear it like the undergarment it's supposed to be. You can put it on over a shirt, so it kind of acts like this big kind of waist cinching belt, and you can wear it out in the open. You can do all the different things, but you can't do it with a cheap one. You can't go to Walmart and buy a good corset. They are not cheap and they are absolutely worth the money. save for it. Skip Starbucks once or twice a week and save up and buy one if that's what you're into, or if that's what your partner likes. It is worth the money. It will never fail you. And if nothing else, you can wear it every Halloween and still get that same freaking reaction, because it is basically, you put on a corset, you're getting laid. It is what it is. It's there is no Spanish fly that can do what a corset does. I mean, Sweet Pea, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I love them. I love to wear my pink one over my leather jacket with a great pair of jeans and some really cute high heels. It's just they're perfect.
They
I
really
love
are.
them.
And you've heard the guys. It's a thing. We would not steer you wrong.
Wow.
So let's talk big hands and big feet. So I grow giant. So not that I'm talking about the size of my kids' wieners, but I have 4 boys that range. My shortest one is still growing, he's 6 feet. My tallest one is 6'7". Their feet, for the 4 of them, go from a 15 to an 18. Their hands are all different sizes. And their father is also in mid-range of that whole mess. So some of them have really long hands, some of them have really wide hands, all of these things. But what I find funny, hate to do this to you ladies, what I find funny is that I've got one child that's always been a little extra in that department, just popped out with where the hell did that come from? And he's got the most even and average hands I have ever seen out of all 4 of them. They're still much bigger than mine, but they're not like he'll fit in an extra large glove, where everybody else fits in a 2X, except for the one that's got a really, really wide, where he's got short fingers like me, but very, very girthy, that he needs weird gloves. But so there is that. So big hands and different size hands and big old feet. And the one that's got all the extra endowment, he is not with the biggest feet. And okay, listen, they all have giant feet because they're giant kids. Okay. But, and they're grown, just, it's not like I'm talking about like a 12-year-old, calm your tits. But that's to anybody who's listening to this in the future, because you all know me. So they're grown. I'm not talking about anything gross. So I find it interesting that they all have different size hands. They all have, big ass feet, but they may not all be as extra, you know? And I just find that interesting. So I want to know, is it the hands? Is it the feet? If you want to know my thoughts, there are 2 ways. People say it's, if you make a finger gun, it's from the inside of your thumb to the tip of your finger. Personally, in my experience, which again is not very vast, sorry, I'm not a whore. It goes from that first line where your palm meets your wrist to the tip of your middle finger, not super stretched out, just laid out. Is fairly on par, give or take a half an inch, for everybody that I have. Because I don't know if you know this, but, and Sweet Pea, tell me if I'm wrong. The first time you are introduced to a new wiener, you very silently go through all the hand measurements that you can think of to see where it lands, so to keep in your database of knowledge of what tends to be true versus not true.
Sorry, yeah, you kind of go, yeah, well, that was definitely a falsehood, or oh, well, he met that cry. Okay, yeah, you could fit
Yeah,
into that
you
very
clock
well.
it. Even if you don't have that conversation, you do not forget.
Uh-huh. And let us not mention that one of your sons looks like Aquaman, so y'all can be.
He really does. He really, he's been stopped for autographs. He looks like a young Aquaman. He's got the long kind of curly hair. He's got that face. He's got beautiful gray eyes, very broad shoulders. He was Aquaman for one Halloween, and people were following him around everywhere. It was nuts. Absolutely. I don't know how he came out of me. I do not look like Aquaman. Neither does his father, but it's all right. But yeah, he's beautiful. But yeah, so I just, so guys, is it thumb to end of the first finger? Is it the length of your palm to your middle finger? Is it anything to do with your hands? Is it all the feet? Tell me.
I've never really found a correlation. I wish I had, but I haven't.
Yeah, it's I can't really correlate myself. I can't think of any body part or anything really that it's like,
So
I
you
mean,
haven't gone, okay, it's as big as this and this part of my hand, and put your hand there like this, and all of that. I can't even imagine that you haven't done that.
Well, I have kind of
well,
done like
it's
well, kind of like the loser sign and gone, yeah, maybe you measure up, maybe. But if you
I
put your fingers together just a few inches apart, because I always have this
I
little joke that I go, do you know why women think this is 10 inches? Because we've always been told this, we've
I
always been told that this is 3 inches because you know that's how
I
women were
think I
taught.
think I think guys tend to compare it more to inanimate objects, and from all the stray pictures on the internet, you seem to see, like, guys holding it next to Coke cans and guys holding it next to soda bottles and things like that. So that's to me is more representative of the
But we
comparison
can't
thing. But
predict
even
that. If
right,
you want
right, yeah,
something, we have to be able
exactly.
to predict it. And so I know that I've got family members that have like a size 10 shoe at 6'2" tall, and those are like tiny tic tac feet by comparison. And they don't have a tiny tic tac wiener. According to the girlfriend, it's like people just want to tell me all the shit I don't want to know about my family. So I find it interesting that, big feet, maybe not, big hands sometimes, I guess
Big
it really
hands.
depends. And I also find it unfair that men tend to, if they're going to measure on their own, they tend to measure about 5 seconds before they finish, when it has that little extra of growth, which is not indicative of what it actually is for the whole time, and so I find that to be unfair. I'm just saying.
Judge for
It's
yourself.
funny. It's funny. Everybody's all like, I'm a grower and not a shower. I'm like, listen, I don't give a shit what it looks like as a lump of clay. It's unusable at that point. I don't give a shit if you grow it, if you show it. What's the finished product? What am I working with? And the most disappointing. Okay, I'm going to make people feel bad. All right, here we go. The most disappointing experience I have ever had in my entire life. So I had some bad experiences with unfortunate situations at 18, 19 years old. When I was 20, I was like, you know what? I'm going to need somebody who knows the ropes. So this guy that I work with was all flirty, and I was like, all right, I might take you up on that. And they're like, what? Like completely unexpected. I'm thinking he could show me the ropes. He would take the time to teach me how my body works, to teach me how his body works, to teach me all the things in a way that would be masterful. First of all, by the time we got down to business, that thing was maybe 4 inches long and never fully solidified to my liking. Like that's all that it did, which is fine because it was more than half, but it was still a little spongy. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But there was no finesse. There was no effort. I was like, this is not what I wanted. I was like, teach me all the things. They're like, what's to teach you? Are you fucking kidding me? And so I was very disappointed. And then he asked me to marry him. The fuck you talking about? Hell no. And what's funny is there was no love, there was no relationship. There was a couple of meetups, a dinner, and disappointment. And, will you marry me? No, that's why you're divorced to begin with. Shut up. And so not okay. And I'm sitting there, and in that moment, I was like, I don't know that I could ever live with myself making anybody feel that, like any disappointment. Because here's the thing. If you don't make an effort to want to know the person, body and reactions, and they don't make an effort to want to know your body and reactions, they're not worth your time. They're not worth the dinner. They're not worth the space. They're not worth the conversation. I don't care how smart they are. If they treat it like it's just 1, 2, 3 and done and it ain't no thing, move on. You know, that's it's not worth the time it takes to want to get to know somebody who isn't going to put in the effort to make anybody feel good. And it's unfortunate, but I find that to be egregiously disrespectful of my time, my effort, and my body to be treated that way. I am just saying, what? We're good. No, that was not good. I don't know. I don't know who told you that, sir, but that was not good. I was like, oh, you're done? It's like, what? You wanted more? Then 5 fucking minutes? Yes, please. Maybe make me feel something. It was not fucking okay. And maybe I had high hopes or higher expectations than I had any right to have. But if you're going to lay down with somebody and it's not, let me meet you in a club and have some unfortunate one night sex, if it is something that was a conversation, maybe a little bit of effort really isn't too much to ask. It's the bare minimum. So don't settle if it doesn't feel like what you want it to feel like. If it doesn't pan out the way you hoped and you don't have a conversation that leads you closer to that, move the fuck on. Cut your losses. Be like, oh, thank you so much. I have a date with somebody else. See you later. Bye. I don't care how you do it. Just don't do it to yourself, because we get locked into situations because we are taught to be agreeable. We are taught to smile. We are taught not to make a scene, not to make your man feel bad, not to whatever. And why? To not incite the violence? I mean, why? Why do we have to be fucking agreeable? This is why I am masculine. I am not very agreeable. I don't know if you've noticed. I am very kind. I am very nice. But you're not going to make me do anything I don't feel like doing. And we're going to talk it to death until you don't want to do it either. Or you talk me into it. We shall, you know? But I am not the norm, and I understand that. And there's nothing worse than that kind of forced, agreeable sex. Well, all right. Well, if you want to. Well, all right. So that you don't rock the boat. Because I was never taught that to fear men. I was never taught that, be nice or they'll beat the fuck out of you. I was never taught that. What I was taught is if a man ever raises his hand to you, this is what you're going to do. Always have an iron skillet somewhere. And when they go to sleep, get the fuck out of them. Make sure your bag's already packed, the keys in your pocket, run the fuck out of there before they wake up and be gone. And I was just like, okay, Ma, fine. You just told me to be all full of salt and battery. Okay. But yeah, she's like, don't make it stink. You wait till they go to sleep. And then you give them hell and you get the fuck out of there. And, that the whole consensus was go back to Mom and we'll call the police and do all the things. I was running for my life, but it's interesting that I don't know that men are ever taught to be agreeable, because there's nothing to fear. You know what I mean? It's not part of what society has taught them just consistently over decades. Okay, again, there's an echo. So I don't know. Feel free, anybody, to join in and part of the conversation. I don't have to talk to myself.
You're kind of covering all the bases.
Well,
We could do announcements, but I don't want to interrupt you.
I mean, we could. I suppose we could do announcements and then maybe read some poetry, since it's what we're here for. Okay. So what is coming up on Thursday, sweet?
Oh, I say that, and of course, God forbid I'm not ready, but hey, what's coming up on Thursday? Which is the 23rd, the birth of the smile. All this talking about penises should give us a smile. We all have those little things that have always seemed to make us smile. At times, the warm and fuzzies can be hard to come by, whether it's those infamous whiskers on kittens or the smell of your favorite things. What are some of those favorite little things that brighten your day, lift a mood, and birth a smile?
And then on Tuesday, the 28th, it is If Only. So the crushing weight of unchangeable choices, the silence after a storm of words, the empty chair, the final glance, or life rewritten in the ink of regret, the unbearable cost of what could have been. We all contemplate that what could have been, if only. So that'll be an interesting conversation to have next Tuesday as well. And Thursday?
And Thursday we have, let's see, empty pages. An empty vessel, a blank page, a notebook ready to capture dreams, emotions, art, or thoughts. Words want to purge. Sometimes they just can't. Whether it's a new beginning or empty space enough to breathe. What does a blank page resident to you?
Represent. My bad.
Represent. Sorry.
No,
Represent.
you're fine. It's a typo because I did it on my phone and autocorrect hates me. It is what it is. So here's the thing, guys. We need you to go on to all of your social media. We need you to go on to YouTube, X, and Facebook, because that's where we are live. We also have a Pinterest. We also have a Instagram. Just like us, follow, share our shorts, share our long things, share info about whatever. Like us, don't like us, share us anyway. Help a girl out. Help us girls out. Not just me. It's both of us. We're a team, because we could use the support, and we love doing what we do. So there is that. You can find all of our archives. Well, you can actually find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all the places. And you can listen to all of our archives, everything we've ever published, on prettysweet.podbean.com. So just type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY Sweet, all one word, and click on our red shoes, because they are the same across all of our platforms, and follow us to a bunch of lives. We have some pre-recorded podcasts as well called Our Pretty Sweet Side Piece. Listen to them, love them, share them, do all the things. Like, follow, share, leave your opinion in our opinions, good or bad. We would love to hear from you. And we are live every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And again, we go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, which is X. All right, so back to the penis. And just so that I have to mention this, while too small may be unfortunate, there are workarounds to that. And which I had mentioned. Funny thing, I was like, I don't know, young when the movie Monkey Shines came out, and this guy, ends up in a wheelchair, and then he ends up doing his nurse, and she's like full on his giant thing that puts him into his chair, and she's hanging on that. He's all doing all the stuff with his head, and I'm just like, oh, okay, because I never contemplated sex with a paraplegic, and that works. It doesn't even require a fucking penis. But nobody really talks about the fact that too big is unfortunate for everybody. Okay, because go ahead.
You're mentioning the Hoyer lift and the acrobatics of doing. My friend had a chair in his living room, and it was one of those chairs that was like a hanging egg basket from a spring on the ceiling. And I wanted to sit on it. He's like, "Oh, no, you don't sit in that chair." And I'm like, I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. The chair has that cargo net type material that if you're laying underneath and you're pointing upwards and someone sits in that they could, like, you could do a full on top and spin them around, and I was like, oh,
helicopter.
Yeah. I was like, so yeah, that he's like that chair's not for sitting. I'm like, okay, thanks. But I had no clue.
Well, now you know.
Yes.
Makes you don't want to sit in there at all, because who the fuck knows what's been all over that thing.
Yes.
But it's unfortunate that whether it's really, really thick or really, really long, it comes with a lot of pain, and pain is not conducive to a good time. Not that kind of pain, not that unexpected kind of pain that makes you dry as a desert. It's not okay. And people are like, oh, I wish it was bigger. Why? Is it getting the job done? Is your wife complaining? Well, what the hell's your problem? I'm like, if you have somebody who loves it, don't complain about it. You know what I mean? Because Yeah,
I know someone that actually has a tattoo that says, "I wish it was bigger too."
that's unfortunate for them. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
here's the thing, and not that you need to know all my business. I'm gonna tell you all my business because if you're gonna be listening, you're gonna know all my business. My very first venture was with the biggest thing I've ever seen, like in real life. I mean, in all counts, I mean, it looked like you could clone that shit and put it in a store and
Dine.
people will pay $200 for it. Seriously. And I've had that one and one that was well, unfortunate, but also big. And neither one of them had any finesse. Because the problem with somebody that's got a big old schlong is they're like, well, it's scraping the walls and touching all the things. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to give a shit. I just go in there and do the stuff. And just like I don't like somebody wanting to do the spiral and all the things and don't be crazy. It takes more than just, a mechanical it takes a little this, maybe fold a girl in half, maybe flip a girl over, maybe do something that isn't just nothing and think that because it's big, it's going to get the job done. And they both didn't give a shit about reading a body. Like they thought they didn't have to. It's big. It's enough. You're lucky to have me. Oh, fuck no. No, 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 no. I would rather have a little bit smaller in both dimensions and have them actually pay attention and get the job done because something happens when there is room to maneuver. It's different than when it's too tight to move properly and when there's no pain involved. It's this magic thing of she's going to swell to meet it and he's gonna do all the things and fold a girl in half, do whatever it is to make it what it needs to be. And the in my experience, the bigger it is, the less they give a shit, the less they think they have to try. Because I mean, it's already touching everything. What more can I do? All the things. You can do all the fucking things. Don't be lazy, goddamn it. I'm just saying. So sweet. What's been your see? Here's the thing. You're the only other person that can talk on on
Yes.
so I don't know how big your bigs are, but the bigger I have had, the more lazy they are as
Well,
lovers.
they're
Not
like I have I am what is it, pumpinator, so
yeah.
like I
I'm
am
like,
God, you lay there and enjoy what I have. And it's like, does that is that all it
no,
does?
yeah. Because here's the thing. If I can buy it in the store and it does better than that, then I don't need you.
Yeah. I can buy a 15-footer and jump on that and it has more personality than you.
I'm just saying. See, so guys think that because it's massive, they don't have to try. I mean, and I understand that the body can only hold so much, and it's going to be touching all the things. What more can they do? All the things is what they can do. They can give a crap about your orgasm. They can give a crap about what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Why do you want to shift positions at all? Because let me tell you about the unfortunateness of a cervix. Because if in this position you don't hit it and it slides behind and gets all the good things, and this position you're kind of banging it, hitting bottom is not necessarily a good thing for her. It comes when you hard thrust the cervix. For me, sex is done. I was like that pain lingers. If you get behind there and you're and you actually hit the back wall, that's more tolerable. It's nowhere near as sharp and it doesn't linger as much. But if you are unaware of what you're doing to the inside of her body where you don't give a shit, it's not fun for us. And we can't even pretend that it's fun for us because there's something that happens emotionally speaking when you realize the guy doesn't give a shit. Then your body stops reacting in lube and starts reacting in pain. And it is not conducive to orgasm. I am just saying, y'all, stay tuned for all the tips because you're getting it all here tonight. It's just one of those things. Now, I like I I like not
Just the
having to
tips.
squeeze it. I like not having to work. I like being able to feel it. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to squeeze it anyway. Oh, sweetie, I will control all the things. I am good with that. But I like not having to, because when you get to the point where you guys are getting over the hump and you're doing all the things, I don't want to have to pay attention to what the fuck I'm doing. I want it to just happen. And the only way for that to happen is to let it happen, is to relax enough to let that happen. So if your orgasm is contingent about upon me locking her down, then I don't get an orgasm, you know? And so this is why I prefer, at least some kind of medium-sized wiener where I don't necessarily have to hold it closed to feel a thing. Now, if I love you, I won't care. I mean, you end up marrying people, sickness and health, the better or worse, and all the things. So if my partner gets into an accident and loses the use of all his junk, I will love him anyway. I will not have sex with anybody else. We're gonna work this shit out. That's what we're gonna do, and it's perfectly fine. I'll take what I can get because it is about the person, not about the wiener. When you're in a relationship where it's just about the wiener, oh, you know, I feel bad. I feel bad because the wiener is you can buy one in the store. Once you realize you can buy one with multiple settings that does more than that, walk away from the useless part attached to the wiener if they're not offering you anything intellectual, anything stimulating, if they're not a safe place for your emotions, if they're not at least several of those things, and you can buy it in the store, go buy it in the fucking store.
Try the produce aisle.
Well, no, because ew. But and besides, we don't want a one and done. We want to keep that shit in the drawer where it's handy and accessible so we can have a good night's sleep. I mean, it is what it is. It's funny because just today on, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. It's Authentic Nurse Noah. Love this guy. Love this guy. He is a PA and he's in women's health. He advocates for all the women and all the things. And he has this series, what men want to know and what women want to know. And so one of the questions that I saw today about what women want to know, it's basically, he's much more delicate than I am. Does anybody actually use the buzz, 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 or the buzz, 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 or do they all do the buzz? Here's the thing. If it's going to do some fancy fucking shit, no. Okay. I like 90% of the people in comments were all just one and done. Just let it do its thing. That way you can control whatever it is, and then you're done. When it wants to switch up and has that kind of variable one that wants to do all the different settings one after another, that's not going to, no. The answer is no. That is very much like you get to a certain point, and then the guy wants to do around the world, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Now I got to start over. It is not okay. But that's just me. I mean, it is what it is. Now everybody knows. Thank you, Authentic Nurse Noah, because that was, I never contemplated such a thing about what other people do with their toys, but since it's out there, it is what it is. So I have you on the board, bud. Are you ready to read?
Okay. Let's see.
I'm going to mute because my dog is snoring.
All right. Here we go. Tale of Tales by me. Have you heard the breaking news? 7 years in belly from gum you chew. Or never swim right after you eat, 'cause cramps erupt as a naughty treat. That you can tell if lad or lass by pregnant, shapely body mass. It's a girl of craving Chips Ahoy, or salted pretzels mean a boy. Don't suck a thumb, you'll get buck teeth. Save dental bills and future grief. And if you pull a gray hair from head, then two grow back to replace instead. Feed the cold and starve a fever to heal the sick, to cure reliever. Wet hair outside will create a cold, at least that is what we are told. Cracking knuckles cause arthritis, and rubbing them, oh, dermatitis. Read in poor light will hurt your eyes. I bet you that comes as no surprise. Don't sit too close to that television, or you wind up with some damaged vision. They help you see much better at night when carrots are added to the diet. Drinking coffee stunts your growth, it shortens men and women both. Chocolate causes facial pimples. Avoid it, please, and have clear dimples. Spicy foods will inflame the tum, creating ulcers and burn the bum. There's so much wealthy, healthy advice. We should all thank those sage old wise. End of poem.
I mean, yes, to all of that.
Mhm.
I think it's funny because now with all of this science and kind of parascientific nonsense and all these so-called holistic people that sound like they know what they're talking about, but they talk out of their ass and all of these things um, that they kind of regurgitate all of the things that their grandparents said and they don't know the whys. Now, a lot of these things, the starve a cold and feed start feed a fever. Is it feed a cold and starve a fever? I thought it was starve a cold and feed a fever. Whatever it is, whatever the correct one is, y'all can look it up for yourselves. Um, there is some science in that for
Yeah.
whatever reasons and all this stuff that it doesn't come out of nowhere, you know. And will wet hair create a cold? I mean, if you're gonna go like okay, y'all that live in winter, if you run out of the house and shower and your hair has icicles and whatnot, that is not the healthiest way to be. It's very hard to stay warm when your head literally has ice on it. And regulating body temperature and troubles regulating body temperature, kind of goes a long way into how your body's going to react to illness if should it enter your system in those moments that you can't self-regulate. There are things to be said. The no swimming after you eat. Did you put that one in here? I thought I saw that one in here somewhere.
Yep.
Because you'll get all the cramps and stuff. You do. I know. We had a pool and we would eat in the pool because pool party and all the stuff. But if you actually want to swim after, yeah, you cramp up a lot easier. Um, I don't know about the waiting or what the time is. It was a 45 minutes. We're like, yeah, no, fuck it. We're fine. We're just gonna float around until we feel like swimming because nobody wanted to get out of the pool. And but I mean, it does a thing when you have a full stomach versus not a full stomach. I mean, your body works differently. It reacts differently. It might cramp. It might get nauseous. It might do whatever. You're not even the same kind of buoyancy if you're there on an empty stomach versus a full stomach. It does some stuff. So I kind of love all of these. I never heard the coffee stunts your growth. That's funny. It didn't stunt my children. They're all tall. But I love these. I absolutely love these. I think the ones that I like the most are the predictions for gender on a pregnant person, where if it goes back and forth,
Salt.
yeah, but it's a girl, or if it goes around in a circle, it's a boy, or whatever it is, because I've seen all the old ladies around all the bellies do all the stuff. And what I find interesting is if they don't see each other and what it is, and they do the test themselves and write it down, um, the ones that happen more often than not, like if you do it as a party game, and you have the pregnant lady in laying down in a bed in the other room or on the couch, and you send people in there with a washer, a ring on a string, and they write down their predictions, whether it's going back and forth or in a circle. When it is like more than 50% of them have the same answer, I mean, I get that it's all whatever, but I've seen it be right more often than not. And I've known a lot of pregnant people since I was a kid. And I come from big Spanish families, so everybody has a say about all the things. And I kind of I was like, well, I wonder if that's the thing, if it's real. Now nobody can predict my shit because everybody got something different. Everybody got, what does it mean when it's diagonal or whatever? Well, I think a straight line is a straight line. It doesn't have to go this way or that way. It's either going around in a circle or it's going in a straight line. And nobody can agree on anything. So nobody predicted what I was having. But I find that to be the most interesting of them all. I really and truly do. I love the couplets because couplets are always kind of fun when they rhyme, and I love the frolicking in that. It just made me smile. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Oh, I have to tell you how much I adored this. Um, there's a timeless quality to old wives' tales, and you kind of made this seem very contemporary with, say, dental bills and future grief, and coffee and stunting growth and cracking knuckles and dermatitis, and you kind of put a contemporary flair on everything that seems to be hundreds of years old, and it just made it very humorous and kind of even holding up, like Pretty Bird said, some of the science to this, because carrots, we all know now, are good for our eyesight. And, you know, I do love also the shapely body mask because, high as a girl, low as a boy, those kind of things. And sweet mean generally a girl, and salty means boy, and things like that. So obviously, if you read in poor lights, you're going to have bad eyesight, they say, things like that. So you kind of beefed up the old wives' tale to a contemporary great couplet rhyme, which was a lot of fun to hear you read. So all in all, I thought, hey, this is a new wise tales in great rhyme. So it was a great little ditty there. A lot of fun to read and a lot of insight too. And Rack, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is really enjoyable, but it brings to mind the science, like Pretty Bird said, that comes behind a lot of these wives' tales. I know one of them that you said, and I don't remember which one it was, but one of them is absolutely true. I think it was around where you mentioned the pulling out the gray hair, but um, I mean, the idea behind them is where some of these words and phrases come from, and that's what I really appreciate about language sometimes, because it usually is based on something factual. I mean, walking under a ladder, well, that's kind of common sense. And you didn't mention that. I'm just throwing that one out there because you didn't mention it. The idea of something like that, it came from, well, you might get hit with a paint can, so it's smart not to walk under a ladder. So, the use of these old wives' tales, like Pretty Bird mentioned, it comes from something, and the history of that is not to be ignored, because usually it's based in some odd fact. And what does it mean when a dog snores? Oh my goodness. So yeah, this was kind of enjoyable and bouncy and very very pleasant.
Absolutely. And Rack, you are up. So who's reading for you today?
You feel like reading, sweet?
Sure, I can
Okay.
read.
Let me mute my dog.
Let me mute my dog. This is Advice for Dating by Raconteur. Wisdom comes from within, and your head and your heart tend to argue. Guys, that includes your little head too. So listen to your feet. They'll walk you through what to do. Because if your goal is to fall head over heels, you need to start off on the right foot. Step up your game and be willing to bare your soul. Success demands that you toe the line, and if you want a leg up, show your support. Happiness is at each other's feet, not throats. You can only create arch enemies within a sarcastic retort. Don't follow in the footsteps of others. Create your own path using what works for you. While you might survive taking a leap of faith, it could wind up being the last thing you do. End poem.
Okay. So my dog just scared the shit out of me. Like right when I went to go turn it on, she heard somebody opening a door and she popped up in a half a second barking, scared the shit out of me.
Oh my
Know
God.
why? Because I sit here in the dark with my computer because it's just easier to see my computer. And so all of a sudden, it's just out of nowhere. I was like, whoo. So my silence was because she literally just scared the shit out of me. It's fine. It's fine. So I kind of love this. Uh, excuse me. Because guys, that includes your little head too, you know. So listen to your feet. They'll walk you through what to do. So if you're going to fall head over heels, and here's the thing, you don't follow in the footsteps of others. That, I mean, it sounds quaint, it sounds whatever, but it's absolutely flippin' true. I think that a lot of times, especially when we're younger, young adults, um, we like to listen to the advice of people that have had more successful relationships than we have. The problem I have with that is that if they've had more so-called successful relationships, they all ended. So how successful were they? You know? Um, but people have a lot of advice. Your friends, especially, well, you seem to be sensitive, so maybe don't put yourself in that situation, or maybe shut the fuck up. But if we do what other people do, and we're not true to who we are, what we like, or how we want to be with our partner, it doesn't bode well for us, you know? And if we jump all in unguarded, sometimes it doesn't bode well for us either. You know, there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere where we feel it out and we grow with each other. It's just a hard place to come to. So I kind of love this because it's basically, listen, don't be a douche. You know, don't don't listen to your friends. You know, trust your gut and walk in that direction. And it's said with humor and grace, and I absolutely love that. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Well, let's not forget the great pun slinger as we go with head over heels, step up your game, toe the line. And I really, of course, love those. But I mean, the whole poem is about, your vulnerability and your individuality, about seeking true love, being honest, your choices and what you think about supporting someone else, and just really being there and not just doing what everybody else does. It's about the wisdom to know the difference, um, about being genuine. And that's what I love about your writing. It's always about being genuine and making the right choice and being supportive for the other person. You're never very selfish with your love. And even if it's through your feet, I love the way you put that all together. And Budo, if you can make a comment, please do.
Yeah, I really, really love this poem. I love how Rack has taken body parts and made them so important and like instrumental into the way that you look at dating. And the cool thing is that it's always starting at the feet, because the feet is basically the found is kind of like a metaphor for your foundation for your
Yep.
relationship. So you have to start from the ground up. If you try to start from the top, you're aiming too high. And if you aim too high, you're just going to crash down. And the other thing is that's pretty cool is because your head and your heart is always arguing. So you can't always get an answer for that, but you can always start with your feet, because your feet's going to point you in the direction that you need to go, and then maybe your head and your heart will follow and figure out what to do next while your feet's pushing you in the right direction. So this is a really cool poem, Rack. I love it, really do. I'd give you a big hug and a kiss if I could, but no, I can't.
To the room. All right, so
Thanks, bud.
I
Yes,
am
you are
up.
up.
Okay, okay. So this is They Just Need to Know What to Do by Sweet Pea. When the nights were cold, my great grandma spit out old wives' tale from her tongue, wrapped in a wool shawl knitted by her ma, while she sipped whiskey to warm her bones. Never trust the sweet southern draw of a Georgia piece. Bless in your heart, a backstabbing gossip two-faced sharp has taken a long fall from grace. Always sprinkle salt across the pathway of the door. Keep the witches and woodfolk at bay. Don't let them cross the threshold. Pure chaos if you allow them in your house to play. Never let a bird fly into a window or through an open screen. Messenger for the angels. They fly and whisper secrets. Today, tomorrow, or in 10 years. The birds will speak your death. Don't forget to laugh when you pass the cemetery. Spirits are depressed. The darkness is overwhelming, and the smell is quite gross. Kikoline makes them remember their life is no longer a mess. Remember to pay attention to the handsome man with the big shoes. Seek out the size of their hands, grape, apple, or watermelon. Be sure to marry the one with the wallet 10 size bigger than his feet. Great grandma says it's not the size, it's what they know how to do. And
You know, so I have a funny story. You said in your poem, never let a bird fly into a window or through an open screen. Messengers for the angels. They fly and whisper secrets. Here's the thing. Since I moved into this house, I don't know, 20 some odd years ago, every spring, three different types of birds, the blue jays, the turtle doves, and I don't know what other little brown bird that is, fly into all of the windows, like to the point that they break my windows every year. On the east facing wall of my house. And there is tint on them. So they see themselves and maybe they think they're another bird, but they will fly full force into them. I've seen them be stunned. I've seen them die. Every year they dive bomb my house. And so I don't know how many angels are trying to get to me, but they don't make it.
the birds die.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Really, by flying into my windows, because it breaks my windows and it's heartbreaking. It's god awful. Thump. Brack's been on the phone with me. Hear the thump. What's that? That's just another bird. It's fine.
That's fine.
And so I find that interesting. I never actually heard that. So I'm like, oh, and my mind went right to all the letters and the owls and Harry Potter, and that message never got to me. It's fine.
You don't want a bird in your house.
I've had okay. So I used to have this blog back in the day that I just wrote shit to. I don't know if I ever had any followers, but I don't care. I just wrote shit.
Unless you invite the bird. I mean, if you want the bird in your house, that's different. But
there was a scratching, a full-on scratching all day long coming from one of the cabinets to the left or the right of my fireplace. There are built-in bookshelves, and then there's two cabinets in the bottom. And it's full-on scratching. And I'm thinking, oh, there's a critter. There's got to be a critter. And my kids are playing next to me. I'm on the computer. And I'm just like, somebody's got to come home quick because I'm not opening that with a house full of little kids because critter. And I don't know what kind of squirrel or rat, or there always has to be a rodent. And it didn't stop all day long. When I thought it would stop, it starts again. I'm thinking, there's a bat. There's bats all over the place. It's a bat. There's a bat. It's got to be a bat. It was this poor little fat round bluebird, the cutest poor little sad little bluebird that was so exhausted, but I wasn't going to open it in case it was something nefarious. So I ended up, it again flew into the window on the inside and just kind of sat on the windowsill. So I picked it up and held it to a little bit of water. And then I sat outside and just kind of put it on the arm of the chair that I had out there until it was just ready to fly. And it flew to my shed and it stayed there for like an hour. I'm thinking this poor bird's going to die. He had a very traumatic day. Then he flew away. And I swear to you, that same bird with a little pink on his collar came by like every day for like a week. And I don't know how he flew in because he didn't fly into the door. There has to be a hole in the grate at the top of my fireplace for it to have gone in there. But then I don't know how it got behind the fireplace. I didn't know there was room behind the fireplace for a bird to go in there. I still don't know how it got in there. Craziness.
It didn't fly with you into the house. It like didn't come with you.
No, it was just there.
Then you're good. They're not coming in with you.
Well, I'm not worried about that. It was a story about the unfortunate stress of the day that the kids are like, oh, I want to see. And I'm like, no, you're not going to see what it is. And instead of anything nefarious, it was a cute little fucking bluebird. My bad. And
I don't want a bird to fly like when you open the door or a window. I don't want a bird to fly in. Like,
actually, I had a pair of bluebirds for 3 years, twice a year would come in, and not the blue jays, that like these little fat bluebirds, but it wasn't what didn't have the pink on it. That the pair of them would come in, fly around my fan, torture my dog, and fly right back out. I'm just like, come on. And sometimes they would be tired, and they would just kind of sit, and then I'd pick them up and kick them out, and then they just fly right. And I'm just like, why? Why do you have to come visit me? Just like I had this one cardinal, the same exact freaking cardinal, because it had the one weird black spot on its wing that would just eyeball me whenever I sat outside all spring, every single fucking day. And I'm like, what are you looking at? It's like it was just watching over me. I'm like, whatever. But I also have 4 crows, big crows. Maybe they were ravens, but I've never seen ravens around here. So we're going to call them crows that would line up watching me leave and line up watching me come back in different parts of my yard, line up on the grass in a row. I'm like, oh, that's not creepy. It's fine. So I don't know what it is about birds, but I kind of love pay attention to the handsome men with big shoes. Seek out the size of their hands, grape, apple, watermelon. And I'm sitting there going, watermelon. They have to be able to hold watermelon because I'm not holding my own luggage. And not because I'm not capable, but because I don't want to. It's uncomfortable and awkward. So if they're going to do it, then they have to be capable of doing it and not look worse than I do carrying my own luggage. It's fine. I love all of these old wives' tales, you know. Don't trust the sweet southern drawl. You know what it is. Do you know what it is? So I don't know from girls, but when there is a guy, and there's a difference to me between a nice slow drawl and a twang. Okay. So when you've got a guy with a deep voice and he's like, yes, ma'am. All right. That would be the answer to all the questions. It's fine because it's really fucking sexy, you know, which is different than if you're in the hills of freaking North Carolina or Alabama and it's a full twang where it's got a kind of a sharper lilt to it and it's a lot faster. And I'm like, that has never once been sexy to me. It's the slow gentleman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm telling you, it does a thing. I am just saying. So, Rack and Tour, your thoughts?
Yeah, grandmas tend to have good advice, and you know they speak from experience, even if it can come out a little somewhat cryptic and fanciful. But you know, at the core of it, you know they know what they're talking about. That's how they get to be so old, and usually they have a smile. So you know they know what it takes to do the thing and be happy in life. So the idea of this is very very um, pleasing. It's cutesy, and you know I enjoy the story and the idea of it, and I bet your grandma was a lovely person. I'd have sweet tea with her any day,
Yes.
Right?
or I would have any. I would have.
So, Budo, your thoughts?
Okay. So I really enjoyed listening to this poem because it's I like how you know the grandma is telling you these wives' tales that she's passing on from generation to generation. But then it's kind of ironic too because at the very end she throws in her little spin about it's not the size of the wallet but what they know how to do. So it's like, all right, you can pay attention to the size of his hands and his shoes, but the final thing will be um, the money he has and how he can take care of you, because if he can't do that, his big feet and hands, they're not going to amount to anything. So I think that's pretty cool. But like the one with the Georgia peach, because you know, I always thought when somebody said "bless your heart," I always thought it was kind of like a compliment, but actually
No.
it's more sarcasm in there, and that's the funny thing about it because you always hear
Well,
about
bless
Southern
your heart.
charm and kindness, but it's not that way actually. It's really it's a sarcastic statement towards you. And that one I really like. The sprinkle of salt across the pathway to the door, I've never heard. I've always
Oh,
heard the
keeps
one
away evil.
where you throw it over your shoulder to keep away evil spirits. You threw a little over your left shoulder, I
You
believe.
throw it over your
And,
shoulders to stop bad
mhm.
luck if you spill it. Yeah.
Okay,
But
I'm
you
getting them
put
mixed up then.
yeah, if you put it across any open pathways, doors and windows or in a circle or whatever, then they're not supposed to be able to cross it.
Okay, because for the one I heard about the bird flying into a window, I always thought it was bad luck because that meant that someone in your family was going to die the next day.
Yes.
And and That's the one that I heard. But and the one about the
I can tell
cemetery,
you it's not true.
Okay,
well,
well, this is what I found
I
out
don't
when
know.
I went. If it's a brown or dark bird, that is that someone in your family may become sick or die. But if it is a white
A
or a blue,
blackbird,
yeah,
right?
um,
Mm-hmm.
it actually means good luck or positivity will be coming into your life.
Oh,
I did
that's
not
Yeah,
pretty
know that.
wild.
none of these were white. One with they're tan and blue. So they weren't dark and they weren't white. I'm screwed. But it's funny because grandma's got all the sage advice. My grandma's advice was this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Don't let a boy touch your bra.
Sage advice. And
Apparently,
that's why you
bad
wear a
things
corset.
happen if they touch your bra.
And that's why you wear a corset.
There's that you want to entice the touching with a corset. I am just saying that's not for the faint of heart. That's a magic piece of clothing right there.
Right.
So I put up a
Oh man.
poem, and it's called Sapiosexual Logophile. And so for those who don't know, a sapiosexual is somebody who is attracted to smarts, and a logophile is somebody who loves words. So there's a lot of words in here. I was going to apologize, but no, I'm not. Okay, this is sapiosexual logophile by me, Pretty Bird, and it goes like this. Whelm turns over as tumescence follows accidental liberation from palpable constraints, unbound and unbounded by curiosity or contingency. Each excuse me, each encounter offers its own emancipation. The complexities of cognition twist behavior into lascivious elation and convoluted convolution into thermodynamics enraptured by tenability, birthed in abstraction. Words are just words, no matter how pretty. It's you who makes energy matter. And I kind of love it because I love all them words. Some people don't. It is what it is.
Well, the complications of your literary, choices did not take away from the fact that you like, experiencing interactions that explore, cognitive complex abilities. You need personal emancipation, relationship between thought and behavior, because that's who you are. Like, I can't say these words, but let's see. I'm going to try to step up my game here. What's the word I'm looking for? Abstract concepts. That's what you're using here. The emotional, scientific, that you blend emotional with scientific words, vivid descriptions. Even though I do love libacious elation, that's a great combination of words. And convulsions. You've got a lot of I'm glad you read it, not me. Because it would take me forever. Convoluted convolutions into thermodynamics. That just sounds like it's very hot fucking. I'm just saying. I might be wrong, but that's what it sounded like. But yeah, each encounter offers its own emancipation. Another, hey, let me be free of my sins kind of thing. So, from palpable constraints, unbound and unbounded by curiosity or contingencies. It just sounds a lot of the way you want things to behave, twisted behavior, enraptured by, I can't say that word, tenabilities, birth in abstractions. Words are just words, no matter how pretty. It is you who makes energy matter. So I like all your words. I like how it sounds. I like how it, makes everything kind of on fire in a very different way. And if you really look at the words, you can kind of paint your own picture of how heated it really is. So I found it vivacious and beautiful. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
I love your use of the vernacular. You take the scientific words and you do make them pretty, and that's exactly what you're describing. That is what turns you on to begin with. So it's a very clever turn of phrase, as it were, and yes, it does have a certain effect on the mind, and you can't get to the body without going through the mind. So again, I much appreciate the idea behind that, and there's a lot of wisdom in it and a lot of truth. So all of that combined, and knowing some of your proclivities and listening to you speak makes us even more impactful. So it's really a pleasure to hear.
And Budo, your thoughts?
All right. So this is like an intellectual orgasm. It's
Yeah.
like because I mean when you're talking about two men, I had to look up tumescence because it's like engorging with blood during sexual arousal. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay. Accidental liberation from palpable constraints. I'm thinking, okay, well, that's the
Keep it
point of
right
no
out.
return, maybe. And they're blowing something here. I mean, it's too late for you to turn around. Each encounter offers its own emancipation of a pleasant release, I'm sure. But it's like lascivious is what something that has to do with sexual arousal too, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, absolutely.
Convoluted convolution where everything is just uh, like when you're in that raptured moment that everything just gets all twisted
Twist it
and
up.
tied and yeah, just like ground up and spit out in a different way, but in a very pleasant way.
Mhm.
And then I guess I can't even say it. Tenability.
Hmm.
I had to look that one up too because it had something to do with something about the logic of an argument or something like that. And I'm like, well, birth and abstraction. This is really cool because you're using thermodynamics, laws of heat, energy, and all that good stuff, and you're putting it into a physical and maybe metaphysical and spiritual, and
Mm.
where everything just combines. Because when you can get to that point where you're with your partner and you can get past just the physical part of it where it becomes so much more than just two beings, then you've really touched on something. So you're going into other planes of pleasure, and that's what this poem says to me.
Oh yeah, it's full sex. Which I love that you took the time to look them up because so many people don't. So I appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love words. And here's the thing. When people use, there are very few people. I listen, I don't know all the words, but I do love words. And I love a
Yes.
poem that teaches me something new. And it's a rare thing, because I love words so much that I tend to know a lot. People tend to write with the same basic words with a couple of
Yes.
extras. And then there's Titus. So, I would say we have 2 shows a week, and he's had stuff, in our shows for most of it. So 2 shows a week for over a year. So he sometimes has 2 poems, sometimes 3 poems, and I swear to you, once every 3 poems, there was a word that I hadn't heard or I hadn't heard in a long time that I was like, "Oh, I remember that." And it's his expert use of words, I swear to you, was the most beautiful thing I have ever read. And it's not just that he did what he does with the forms of poetry. And it didn't really matter if he was free verse or sonnets. His use of words to mean exactly what he means them to say, that the precision of language was expert level ridiculous. I absolutely loved reading him. you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um I kind of because this is all sapiosexual logophile, because this is, I like a big brain pan and all the words. It's got a lot of extra words in them. I don't usually write with all the extra words, but I love them because I know that tumescence is not a common word, and it is full engorgement. You know, unbounded by curiosity or contingencies. Like you know, you show me yours, I'll show you mine. You know, and I love that because this reads as non-emotional if you don't bother to look it up. It's just a bunch of words that could be anything. And this is full you know, whip it out, you know. Now we're all twisted up, now we're all the things, and raptured by tenability is something you can hold on to, something you can justify, something that you can hold, or basically if the theory holds water, it's tenable. So it means that it can last more than just this one time. And it's kind of birthed out of the weirdness that is how I'm attracted to people, because not everybody, you know, finds words as beautiful, and not everybody likes a big brain pan. There's a big faction of society that if they think, especially if you're a woman, if they think that you are smarter than them, they want nothing to do with you, because
Yeah.
automatically make them feel stupid by existing. I feel bad for them. I was like, please make me feel stupid. I want to learn more things, you know? Don't make me look stupid.
Teach
That's
me.
different, you know? But I appreciate you guys a lot. I really, really do. It's funny. I had actually tried to write for the full big hands, big feet, big all the things, but when it came down to it, um I don't care how big it is. I don't care how I care how you treat me. I care how you treat animals. I care that, you know, your ego isn't bigger than your wiener. You know, that's what I care about. And so I had a very hard time wanting to write to that, even though I love talking about it, because there are two different things to make something art and to have a conversation, even though sometimes conversation is art. So hence the this, where it is the size of your brain, not what's in your pants, that matters most. I was telling Rack and Tor a couple of days ago, the sexiest man I have, I promise you, beyond sexy. He's 5'4", has a wonky eye, not exactly the handsome in the slightest, which is the lead singer of Radiohead, Tom York. But I swear to you, he is on my free pass list because his brain is intensely beautiful to me. He's absolutely fucking brilliant. And there's something inherently sexy about a natural kind of genius level brain that it is what it is. It just does something. So that's what I said when I started the show, and I was like, you know, you don't have to be the best looking guy, but you have to be able to hold a conversation. You have to be all of this and then treat me well, because I will treat you as good or better than you treat me. So if you treat me well, I will pamper you where you need to be pampered. I will spank you when you need to be spanked. I will do all the fucking things. You know, it's all in, you kind of get what you put into a situation with me. And if more people were like that, I think that there would be longer relationships than all of these 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They could last longer if there was that kind of conversation of the expectation of, listen, I will be your everything, but you have to also be my everything. You know, you have to step up and do all the things, because people get complacent in your daily roles, that when you're nice, they take advantage, and then they expect it. And then when you don't put out in the way that they want you to, as far as the status quo, then you're the bad guy. I don't play those games. You know, it's funny. And we'll be doing closing announcements here in a minute, but I wanted to put something, since I've got all you guys here, I wanted to throw something out there, because I was having a conversation the other day about why I don't think that confidence is inherently sexy. And that is a um controversial topic. It's an unpopular opinion, because here's the thing. And I don't know how it works for guys. And Sweet Pea, I'm going to need your opinion, even if it opposes mine on this. Your body, physiologically speaking, reacts to fear the same way it reacts the same way as it does when it's aroused. The exact same way. Your heart palpitates, your parts get tingly, your all the things, your little hairs, your back of your neck stand up. And so when somebody's approaching you, they approach you full on and you don't know them, your body is going to, if you're in a bar and so some hot guy comes up to you, like just looks you dead in the face, walks right to you because he knows what he wants, your body's going to react how your body is going to react. It is a fear response. It is not a sex response until you interpret it as a sex response, but once you determine that they're safe enough. And so my question is it that we don't want to be victims or feel afraid of everybody that looks at us and comes right at us? Or is it actual arousal? Because the thing is, I can think back on everybody that came right at me, and it pissed me off because I don't like people approaching me like they know me. I never have. I don't. But because I learned early on that Prince Charming is Dracula, because even my 8-year-old brain sussed that shit out, and I think it saved me because I never really had that. Oh, he's so hot. I don't know why I like it. My body's doing a thing. No, it's all full warnings. And the thing is, until you are fully aroused by somebody that actually arouses you, you don't really discern the difference because you must want them. And this is why people regret so much. I don't know. I just couldn't help it. No, sweetie, you knew it was bad. You knew it was wrong. It was danger, Will Robinson, but you took it as desire that you can't control because it's easier to give into desire than it is to give into fear or run from the unknown when there's nothing triggering you. So I was thinking, what are your thoughts on a future topic on that? Is it enough for a whole show? And I usually don't do this out in the open. I usually we'll ask everybody, usually I'm just like, this is what I'm writing on, but it's a convoluted mess of shit to try to come up with a title. So is it worth a discussion?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think maybe I know I'm made that way because I don't know if I want to fear you or fuck you, but fear is definitely the first one. I mean, I'm going to be afraid of you. Absolutely. Not necessarily afraid of you, but I don't know.
Well, your spidey senses start tingling, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, maybe not, but I'm putting up all my defenses. I mean,
right.
everything about you.
And you let them buy you a drink and maybe a conversation. And maybe it's easier at that point, since
Yeah.
it's not an open-faced danger, to call it desire because it's a lot easier to reconcile that than why am I afraid of somebody who just wants to start a conversation?
Right. Because
So
I've got every guard up first. Because I don't know what you want to do to me. I don't know what your plan is. I
and
don't
Yes, you
people
know.
do.
find that arousing. People are like, "Ooh, he's dangerous. Ooh, that's fucking fear. Learn your
Yeah.
body, you know?"
Yeah.
And it amazes me how many people never put that together because we don't want to be afraid of everything. We don't want to be afraid of people. We're never afraid of anything. How are we afraid of some idiot walking up and buying me a drink? Well, when there's no attraction at all, it doesn't usually clock. You don't give a shit, you know? But
Right.
when they're looking at you and it instigates um that nervous system response where things tingle and your heart races and you start to sweat, it is the exact same response. It's just a different ideology. And I have never heard anybody talk about it. And I think that it would, you know, have people take pause to try to discern that with themselves. If they ever hear somebody actually tell them what their body's doing, but nobody teaches you that. Just like it's the same exact reason why if you're in a locker room at 16 fucking years old, chances are somebody's going to have half a chub. It has nothing to do with sex and everything to do with I'm nervous, I'm afraid, I'm embarrassed. It's the same exact response. Your body reacts the same way. It only does the one thing. It's your brain that decides what you want it, which path you want it to run down. And I know so many. I have 4 boys, and so I talk to a lot of teenage boys because they want to tell me all of their sex questions, and I'm very scientific about it. Like, I know I'm this, but my body said no. Your body says I'm nervous and I'm scared and I'm this, that, and the other thing, and it's a natural response. It's a physiological. It has nothing to do with anything. If you want to contemplate your sexuality, go have at it. Think about all the things. Determine who you are and what makes you happy. But this situation with that physiological response has nothing to do with desire and everything to do with fear and nerves. And once they realize that, they contemplate things on their own schedule and they don't have to be afraid of themselves. And it's just amazing to me that nobody has these conversations. And I get that I'm a weirdo. I get that I see things maybe not mainstream. I understand that, but I still think that these are conversations worth having. So at some point in the future, we're going to touch on that, but not tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have anything to say about big hands, big feet, or any other things before we go into our closing announcements? Okay, I'm going to take that as no. All right. So again, what's coming up on Thursday, sweet?
What is coming up on Thursday? Good Lord, if I had a memory right at this moment,
Smile.
I would. Smile. Thank you. I'm sorry. I've got some issue right now, so my brain is not braining. Good
If you want me to
Lord.
read it.
A birth of a smile. We all have those little things that seem to make us smile. At times, the warm and fuzzies can be hard to come by, whether it's those infamous whiskers on kittens or the smell of your favorite things. What are some of those little things that brighten your day, lift a mood, or birth a smile? That's on Thursday.
And coming up next Tuesday is If Only, which for some reason right now reminded me of As If, but no, they're two different things. So the crushing weight of unchangeable choices, the silence after a storm of words, the empty chair, the final glance, or life rewritten in the ink of regret, the unbearable cost of what could have been. We all contemplate what could have been if only. And that is on Tuesday. So that's what's coming up for the next two shows. So like, follow, share, leave your opinion and our opinion, click all the hearts, show us some love. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places. Just type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY Sweet, all one word. Click on the shoes and listen to hundreds of hours of us talking about all the things using all the grown-up words. You can listen to us live on Facebook, YouTube, and X every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So that is what is coming up. So we have had a fabulous fucking time, and we hope that you did too. However, if you did not, you ready, guys? You can fuck all the way off. Woohoo! Good night, everyone.
Everybody.